Hey garden friends, welcome to the cram-packed greenhouse today at Flower Patch. We are going to just talk this and that and go through some things. I'm going to give you some updates on plants I started from seed, cuttings I took, all of that. We are getting ready to start putting things out in the garden. I got a couple more weeks, so stay tuned for all of that. If you enjoy this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and or share with your friends. Please forgive me for blinking here. Yeah, I have a lot of glare from the sun. The sun is out. I'm not complaining. All right. So first of all, I got a shipment in. I was not going to do a video today, but I got a shipment from Dutch Grown or Dutch Bulbs. Let me look at that. Well, it's K. Van Bourgondian and Sons, but also the website is dutchbulbs.com. Now, I had someone say that they were disappointed in some dahlias they got from these people. They started later, were much later to come up. Well, I have to say that all the bulbs, dahlias I got last year from one company, they all ended up with gall. The ones I got from Dutch Bulbs, no gall whatsoever. So that's a big plus to me from a company, you know. And the other one is a well-known company and very reputable. I love buying stuff from them. And I'm not going to put the name out there because it might be, there's a lot of bulb companies, or dahlia companies that are struggling with gall. It is widespread through the US, so it's not just one company. But yeah, dutchbulbs.com, I had no issues with the dahlias I got from them. And speaking of dahlias, I'm going to give you an update. We're going to unbox this in a minute. I'm going to give you an update. Now, last fall, I pulled a bunch of the dahlias out of the ground. I had them in containers in the ground to prevent the gophers from eating them. And it worked very, very well. And then come fall, to go dig them up, I just dug them up and I put them in the basement. And two of them I left in here in the greenhouse over winter. And I'll show you, I went yesterday and pulled, I forgot about the ones in the basement, but I went in there for something else and I spotted them. And look, can you see that right there? They're starting to sprout. And this was very dried out. This one I think needs to be watered. And you can see there's roots coming out the bottom. But I was so thrilled. And I don't know, since I hadn't dug these out of the ground and cleaned them off, I don't know if they had the gall or not. So, yeah, I'm almost afraid to look. But I will do the same. I don't even remember. Did I write on here which ones this was? Nope, I didn't. It could have been, I had the Thomas Edison, which is like a burgundy color, and out front, and I think these are the ones that I had in here. And these, I had a slug crawling over that. I got slug slime on it. But these ones from out front, I think that was American Dream, and they're like an orange, which these would be perfect in my artist garden with the zinnias and what have you, or in the neighboring bed to draw the orange, you know, to have a complementary orange over there. And here's another one. Now, did I mark this one? Nope, Lady of Shalott, that's a rose I had, and that was in this that I got. But so this one too. And these right here, this is larkspur coming up from seed. But here is the dahlias. Now this is the one of them that was in here. And there's more sprouts coming up over here. In the greenhouse over winter, I really did not expect them to live because it gets pretty cold in here as it does outside. And even though we're a zone 8, and they're supposed to be hardy in our zone, I've never had them overwinter for me out in the garden. It's probably too wet. Probably too wet. Now let me see this one. Yeah, this one's got sprouts coming up too. Coming up in it. I don't know if you can see. It's just very tiny. But I was thrilled. I was more than thrilled. Why I didn't mark them? Maybe because I didn't expect them to live. I don't know. But I'll just put them back in the soil out there. in a spot. It takes a long time for dahlias to get to bloom here because of our short growing season. And we have very cool garden nights. Now that's not always a negative. I was just reading up on a plant I was interested in, and they say it blooms from spring to summer, except in areas that have cool summer nights. It will continue to bloom through the summer. And I thought, okay, that's a plus of having cool winter nights, is those other plants will continue to bloom for me. That's also why I have great success in sweet peas blooming all summer for me, is the cool nights that I have in summer. If it's above a certain temperature, they stop blooming. And yeah, and that's why a lot of people say, oh, they don't bloom through the summer for me. And I didn't know that. I learned that recently. Okay, this one didn't get watered. This one looks iffy. But you know what? With those other two being successful, I have no doubt that this one will come up too. So I'll water it well. And like I said, I'm tripping over things in here. All right, back to the unboxing. I just wanted to show you those because some of those came from Dutch bulb grown Dutch. Okay. Dutch bulbs. Oh, let me see it again. DutchBulbs.com. I will put it across in letters so that it is perfectly clear what it is. All right, so yes, some of those dahlias, the American Dream or whatever, I got from them. And they did beautiful. Okay, give your plants the best chance. They always give you instructions. Okay, so what did I get? Now, I've ordered some things, even though I said I wasn't going to order things, because they had some things I had been looking for. They had them on sale that I hadn't been able to find anywhere else. So, oh yes, crocosmias. I have the red ones. The crocosmias, they do beautiful for me. They come back every single year. The gophers do not eat them, even though they're a bulb. And this has 10 bulbs. This one was this was fire starter, and it was an orange. And I wanted orange. I have the red. So, crocosmias. And this right here is a Bareroot of Russian sage, denim, and lace. Now, everywhere else I had seen them, they were quite expensive. And they had them at a really good price on this sale. So I picked up, did I only get one? Depth. 3. I think there's 3 in here. So that was why I got that. I have some Russian sage, and it gets way too tall, and then it flops. So this one is supposed to stay shorter, and I love the color that the Russian sages are. Okay, this one, oh, Nipeta. This one is Persian blue. I have, the last few years, fallen in love with Nipeta. Gophers leave them alone. They come back reliably, and they just bloom nonstop for me with deadheading. And there's so many different varieties and colors. Excuse my ring camera. Front right. Okay. People coming and going. I need to turn the sound off so it doesn't disturb us again. Alrighty, so that's it. So I need to pot these up. So that's what I'm going to do. And get them going so that it is a good idea. You know what, I probably should soak them first, and I will do so, in some organic Rev. That's my root growth stimulator, which helps with transplant shock. And I've shown you many, many times before. So the organic Rev, and I always have a link in the description box below, and it just has been a game changer in my garden. And what I love is it helps the microbes in the soil. There's nothing quite as important as the microbes in the soil. Now I'm going to go get some water to put in here to soak the roots of these before I pot them up. I think my camera overheated. Anyways, okay, so I have the water. I collect rainwater when it rains, and that's what I have out in here to put this up. I am so glad we do not have smell-o-vision, or whatever you want to call it, because we have a skunk that has set up residence very close by here, and it just gets overpowering sometimes, and it just, oh. So, yeah, the things I do for my garden. Okay, so anyways, here we go. I'm going to open this up, and I should put it over my tub here so I can dump it out. And I will go I don't think I have any gallon pots in here, but I will get some out in my storage area. And let's see, sometimes it can be tricky to figure out which way is up with these things. And this looks like the stem, and these are all the roots. It's nice and moist. Actually, that stem is separate. I'm going to plant this one separate. So I think there's 3 in here. Oh, there's some over here that's starting to grow. Is this all one? Wow, it's hard to tell. Now this one's the Nipeta, or Nipeta. And yeah, we'll put that one in there. And this one, like I said, has already got growth on it. I'm making sure I'm not... Should check how many I ordered. Tricky. Just work with it and look, find the stems and the tips. And if it's not got any new growth, this one's just barely starting. Sometimes it's really hard to tell. So you're just going to have to look closely at it. There's really no way for me to really accurately show you. See, this one has growth coming off of it. But here's the stem up here. So that's a tough one. That's like it's coming from underneath. So, yeah. Yeah. So, those are that. I think a good soak will do them good. Probably could get some more water in there. Now, these were, yes, Nipeta Persian Blue. These ones stay 14 to 18 inches high. You space them 18 to 30 inches apart. You plant the crown at the soil line, and then they like full sun. So yeah, I have several Nipetas. I have Cat's Pajamas, Cat's Meow. I have Kitten Around. And then there's one I just bought at the garden center, and it was a different name, and I will pull that up for you. And then this one. And I have divided them for you, show you how I could divide them to make more, etc. And when you find a plant that does absolutely gorgeous for you and almost effortless and it's beautiful, then repeat it throughout your garden. And that's what makes a lower maintenance garden for you when you find plants that thrive. It is fun to try new plants, and there's always new ones coming out, new cultivars, but it doesn't mean that even though they thrive in someone else's garden, that they will thrive in yours. I will give you an example. I had bought 3 Bobo hydrangeas. I bought them in the 2-gallon size because I want them to be a good size to create a hedge effect in an area in the front garden. And they just kind of were, They didn't really do much. They didn't fill in. They bloomed up. They did bloom, but they did not get as big and beautiful as I had seen elsewhere. Now, I've seen people tell you that with panicle hydrangeas, the key to success is your zone. That's not completely accurate. My zone is perfect, if you go by what it says, for Bobo hydrangeas, but they didn't thrive in the front. So I thought, well, maybe they're not getting enough light. Maybe this is the wrong place for them. So I dug them up last fall, not this last fall, the fall before, and put them out back where they would get more sun. This year, I think one may be alive. My camera turned off on me. I don't know why. One is only left alive. Now, it should have thrived there. There was no extreme winter. We didn't have extreme winter this year. I have no idea. They struggled all last summer and barely grew. And I've moved things before and not had that occur. So they didn't like it here. But I had spent like $32, $33 each. So that's $100 for something that didn't make it. Usually I don't go in and buy expensive plants like that, but I thought I wanted instant impact. They worked well for everybody else. I have a perfect zone for them. Why not? Just go ahead and make the expense. And yeah, and it was a total fail. So I like trying a plant, especially if it's an expensive purchase that you can't grow from seed or cuttings or whatever. And then I can see if it's going to thrive in my garden conditions. It's not always dependent on your zone. I try to emphasize that so much because there's so many people that will tell you that it depends on your zone. It doesn't. I just shared a video of my secret cottage garden tour for May, what it's looking like. And then I was telling you that we were going to have a big, heavy snow just the next day. And I got a comment, and it's from somebody, who doesn't know, but And she says, I can't believe they consider you a zone 8. It's not your weather conditions like me getting snow in May that determines your zone. It is your average low temperature in the winter. Not how much rain you get, not when you get the rain, not when you get the snow, your average low temperature. So my average low is the same as somebody up in Seattle, Washington, and they will not get the late heavy snows like we do. It is not uncommon for us to get those. It is not uncommon for us to get a late freeze in May because that we're on the mountain, and that's just how the weather flies here. But we are a zone 8B, and it is because of our average low temperature we get every single winter. And that's the only thing that determines your zone, your average low. So it could be in a rainy area, it could be in a hot sunny area. It's like Dallas, Texas. There's another garden blogger, and it's called She's a Mad Gardener. She's in Texas. She's the same zone as I am, or even maybe, I think she's 8A. And she's had plants out for a long time blooming, and she's had her petunias out and stuff that I can't plant out until almost June. And we are the exact same garden zone. Our weather conditions are just different. So that's what I wanted to let you know. As I said before, if you find something that really thrives and will just come back every year in your garden and you love it. I love the colors of the Nipeta, the Nipeta. The gophers don't bother them so far. Yeah, so I start repeating or finding different varieties or different cultivars of that plant, like the different Nipetas that I am growing. And the same here, the Russian sage does well for me. And so when they had this one on sale, it's a shorter variety. I was like, oh yeah, I want some of those. I have not been able to find these in garden center. Well, I did find them, but they were kind of pricey because they were put out by proven winners, or at least the potted ones were. But these are Bareroot. And yeah, they already got some pretty growth on them. I will soak these as well. And then I will get them potted up. I still haven't gone and got my pots out from where I store them. See if I have any room in here. These can go outside of the greenhouse even after I just freshly pot them up because they are hardier, and if we did get some cooler nights, it won't bother them. Now this week we're supposed to stay in the low 40s for our nighttime temperatures, so it's not a big deal that they will be outside because I just don't have room in here. I still have things that are ultra sensitive to the cold, like zinnias. Here's some of my zinnias I started from seed. The ones I have in the house are much bigger, and they're on my light rack. I haven't brought them out here because I knew we were going to have the super cold this last weekend, and I didn't want them to be harmed by that or set back. But I just don't have room out here too. And they're my orange ones for my artist garden that I put in. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to get a container to put some more Rev in to soak these. Yeah, the crocosmias, I wonder, these are an orange too. I need to think about where I want to put them, and I can take my time with these. I don't have to put these out right away. Yeah, I hadn't anticipated buying these plants, like I said, but when I got such a super great deal on them, I went ahead and bought them, knowing they're something I've wanted for a while. So that was what I was willing to go ahead and spend some more dollars on. I wanted to share with you one thing. This is a rose. You know, if you've been around here much, that I love vintage roses, heirloom roses. And just look at this thing. I've got to bring you up closer. Isn't this thing just gorgeous? This one is Ardoisie de Lyon. This is a hybrid perpetuals. And yeah, that's just, that color is gorgeous. So here is a lavender I started cutting, and this thing's completely dried out. I did not keep up with it. Let's see if it'll come back. Okay, but I got this one from Rogue Valley Roses. Yeah, I have a thing. When I find some roses that are just super gorgeous. Joanne's Pink Perpetual. This is another hybrid perpetual. Some of the reblooming ones, they come from the hybrid perpetuals. These were bred, unlike the one-time bloomers, these ones were bred for continual blooming. Joanne's Pink, I don't know if this is a vintage one. Oh, yes, it is. It was from the Fairmount Cemetery. Now, sorry, you guys, my camera keeps overheating. The sun was beating right on it. So, anyways, as I was saying, this one it's called Beulah Blakely. And this one was Riverside Cemetery. It was found. And it just was a really pretty double color, deep pink, height 3 to 4 feet, width 2 to 3 feet, moderate fragrance, bloom occasional. But the story behind it was so sweet. Obviously, they figured that the parents planted this rose next to her gravesite, and it lived through neglect, drought, and this particular cemetery no longer got irrigation. And if you know, Colorado can have, it's high desert and drought conditions, and this thing just kept on plugging. And so they finally got cuttings of it and took it, and so it's available to those of us who love roses with a story, but also just one that you know is going to be tough. And we'll keep it. Even if it's an occasional bloomer, I will plant it with others, like with this hybrid perpetual, close together because they're both that bright pink, and they will complement each other as far as blooming one occasionally. And they said that even once it's taken care of, it may bloom more. But even in that cemetery with no care at all, it bloomed. So that to me is a winner as far as a rose. Okay, so I got the pots. So I'm going to pot up first the Nipeta. I just want to make sure there was no slugs in there. Somebody asked, and I did take a video of it, what slug eggs look like, and I will include that little clip here, and I will show you the slug eggs while I dig up some soil to put in here. And I just had my scooper right there. It is. And yes, these I didn't notice fell out of the container, but these are the proven winners, Russian sage, the denim and lace, and they were Bareroot, and that's what made them more affordable than buying them already potted up. Plus, these ones I don't think I had seen locally. I have looked. So, okay, so for potting up the Nipeta, I am going to take these out of the water. I didn't soak them long enough. I'm just in a hurry today, so I should soak them longer. Yeah, this is going to be tough because it looks like the crown is everywhere. So I'm just going to put it down in here. I'm going to barely cover this top growth here because I've got growth coming here. Yeah, the plants are sprouting everywhere. And they are going up. So I know that that is the upside. So that's how I'm going to gauge it. And I could plant these directly out in the garden, but I am going to put them in the pot so I can keep an eye on them, make sure the gophers don't eat them. Even though I have said time and time again, gophers haven't bothered my Nipetas, I want to make sure with these new ones that they make it. And also I want to make sure, I also may want to give one away. So they are all good. Now this is the Edna's Best EB Stone, and it already has a lot of nutrients in it, so I'm not going to put any kind of slow release fertilizer in here or anything. I almost never use, well, I should say never. I don't use a slow release. I use the Organic Rev, and I use the Organic Rev is not a fertilizer, but it helps the plants take up the nutrients from the soil. I'm just shaking it so it goes down between all those fibrous roots. And then I use the Eco Organic, which is a fertilizer and plant nutrition, and it feeds the microbes too, which is important to me. For good soil. If you have good soil, you will have healthy plants and you will not have pest problems. I often see people pouring on the synthetic fertilizers, especially for annuals, and they don't realize they are inviting pests because of the way those work. And it's like the plant starts sending out a signal to all the bad bugs. Oh, we're yummy, come and get us. So then you have to spray like BT and other things for the pests. Whereas if you have the optimum of healthy plants, the bugs cannot digest them or whatever they suck out of them, and therefore they leave them alone because they will be able to tell when they fly over. It's a very interesting phenomenon. I call it phenomenon, but it's based on the Brix levels of the plants. So I'm doing the same here. In fact, I've got some of the little sticks sticking up that I assume were stems of the plant. So anyways, as soon as I get all these plants out of the Rev water, I will put these in there to soak and let them soak. And I'll probably go ahead and let them soak a little longer. And then I'll walk you through some of the plants I got. I think, can you look at these orange? I got those at Home Depot when a few weeks back. They are a bulb. They're a new to me bulb. Let me tell you the name of them in case you weren't here when Sun Star and Orthinogoum Golem dubium. But they have just bloomed and bloomed and bloomed. And there's even another stalk coming up. These have been fantastic, and they're hardy in my zone. So if I plant them in the ground, I'll plant them in a pot in the ground so the gophers don't eat them. They will come back next year, just like daffodils and whatever. I think those are just so gorgeous. I need to research more on them so to see how to propagate them, or if the bulbs, if they, increase like daffodils do. I think that would be an amazing, and since, well, I don't know how early they would bloom here, because these were blooming when I bought them. So I don't know if they bloom with the daffodils or the tulips, or next year if I have them outside in the ground that they would bloom later. But I have just enjoyed those immensely. I'm hoping me scraping the dirt out of here is not too annoying of a sound. So I think I could hear some work next door. We saw a delivery of some lumber. We were wondering where it was going, and this next door, our neighbor, his deck last year got ripped off with the 9 feet of snow we got, and I think the contractor's getting ready to work on that. Before winter started, they did get the foundation poured. So I'm going to have some construction noise around here again, but that's okay. I have nice neighbors. So, all right. So I will take these out in the garden, and I will put them in a place that they will be in a good spot to water and keep up with, and then we will see how they grow. And these I'm just going to soak. Well, you guys, it is just so hot in my greenhouse that the camera keeps shutting off because it overheats. So I put it out here in the shade, maybe a little breeze, we'll get to it. I am going to put those Nipetas over here, and I'll look in a minute in my camera screen to see if you can see where it's at, and I'll show you where I'm going to put them. Okay, I'm going to put them over here in this white container. Now this container, I got at Home Depot in the back section. I haven't seen them lately, but it was galvanized metal, and I painted it white. And I haven't shown you, this is kind of chipped, but I also usually around the edge will do like a black edging so it looks like enamelware. And I've enjoyed using them for my plants. So this has rainwater in it. I just sunk these pots down in it. They will soak that up. And then tomorrow morning I'll come out with the hose and make sure that they are wet. But I'll just let it absorb the water for now. Right here, I'm going by here every day to get to my bespoke greenhouse, to check on my winter sowing containers and make sure whatever needs to be watered. So I will see them and I will be able to take care of them. The Russian sage, I will do the same. I'll just pot them up in containers. I'll sit them out here where I can look at them every day, and we'll go from there. And I will share with you in a few weeks what they look like and how well they're doing. And I'll figure out where I want to put the crocosmias. I just knew I wanted more, and I didn't have a specific area yet to put them. So let's go around and I will show you a few things that the snow, what the snow damage is, and then how I'm going to fix it, just in case you have snow damage too. Now this isn't too terribly bad. Let me see if you can see it down here. I'll get over there really quick. I have a rose right here I need to get relocated in a pot. But right here, you see how this is phlox, and it got bent down with the snow, and I need to come and put a little stake in here, probably a bamboo stake, and just pull it upright. Because you see how it's just curving to come up rather than going back up. And I don't want it to flop like that. So I will just tie it up to a bamboo cane. That's why I grow bamboo, is because I cut a lot for support, and the bamboo canes last a long, long time in the garden. But that's one thing. I'll show you one of my poor peonies. So I wanted to show you, like right here, you see this bit of clematis, it snapped it off. Now I may be able to just put it up and it would reconnect, but I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath. So let me get down here and show you my poor peony. Now this one was doing great, and the weight of the snow bent it over the support here, and it didn't break it. I can see a little split here, but not completely. So I can get a stake and I can post it up. It's got blooms on it. This is getting ready to open up and be gorgeous. So yeah, I'm just thankful that it didn't do more damage, because I would have lost all my blooms. The other peonies going further down the hill, I showed you in the Rose Cottage garden tour, they're just coming up, so they didn't get squished. But my Jupiter's beard over there is all smashed to the ground, so I'll have to prop it back up as well. And I have some broken roses, like the clematis was broken, but I am thankful there wasn't more damage than what there has been. And that's throughout the garden. Different things got flattened, but all in all, it didn't do too much damage. Well, my garden friends, I think that's it. I didn't show you my other Nipeta, but I'll go around there in a minute. On this is kind of as a hodgepodge. I wanted to show you what I got from that Dutch bulb company, but dutchbulb.com. I'm getting pretty close to giving up here. My camera keeps shutting off on me for different reasons. But back here, I want to share with you my red banana I had to bring outside because I overwintered it all winter. It was big and beautiful, but it got aphids that I couldn't see. And then it started putting out this milky, what is it called, honeydew. And the ants were coming in like crazy. And so I stuck this out here. Now this went through the snow, but there is still a new green growth here. It may have made it. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I would be thrilled if it did. I will cut off all these old leaves. But yeah, who knows? We'll see. I'll check in later with it. Here's my other Nipeta. This one is called Sylvester Blue. Let me see. I didn't see how high this one gets. I'll have to look it up. Oh no, it gets 4 inches. 4 inches tall? That looks taller than 4 inches. So this one stays even shorter than the others. Now the the kitten around is also supposed to stay small and short. But this one I saw at High Hand Nursery up in Loomis, California, when we went up to the iris garden. And I just had to have it because I hadn't seen that anywhere before, and I wanted to get it, knowing that Nipeta does so well for me. I've got some galvanized tubs, emptying them out to do my spring-summer containers. The oblong one or the rectangle one I got from Walmart. It's a drink where you put drinks and ice in it. And they still have them. I think they're like $15, $16. They might have gone up. Sorry, the sun's right in my eyes. And that had tulips and stuff in it, which I had to dump out. And I dumped it in the raised garden beds that I'm filling. So that will still bloom next year out there. So I have another one to do, but this back area I have avoided for a while because it's a mess. It's a construction zone. So I didn't think you wanted to see the big fat mess. But I will bring you along when I clean this up for summer for our enjoyment. This is where I put my geraniums that I got at Lowe's, the red geraniums, and other things, maybe even some of my wave petunias, because I love putting them on my deck rail to enjoy all summer long. All right, I hope to see you in my next video where we will share, I don't know what. I'll share more of my zinnias, other things. The orange zinnias are doing just great. I'm just loving them. So I'll look back and see what's on my list. I have a calendar of things I want to record. So there's that. Oh, I was going to share with you my poor tomatoes. These ones were none of my seed grown. These were the early girls I bought. They were 2 in a pot, and I split them. They were doing fantastic, and I accidentally left them outside out here on a very cold night, and they didn't like it, so it really shocked them, so they kind of turned yellow. But they seem to be doing good today. I'll put them down in the greenhouse when we're done here. So, alrighty, I'll quit rambling on, and I will see you in my next video.